When I was a young reporter, I did a story about the ministry, and it was highlighting how the ministry had been neglected, had funding. So the minister called me and he said, John, I've seen your story. It was such a good story. Do you know what? This morning I received a call that the Prime Minister has ordered, under this government, the Prime Minister has ordered the finance to give us the funding. Then we had the coffee. Then he said to me, but now, that is the private part of it. As ministry, we have obligation to deny your story. The official position is that there is no way government can neglect its ministry. So that's how government operates.
Three words describe John: knowledgeable, tenacious, and a keen observer of punctuality.
He has that extra kind of a heart, of a fatherly, of a listening boss, of a mentor, of a coach. You know, someone who never judges even when you make mistakes.
Whenever you want something, John will always help you. He dedicates a lot of time to this newsroom. He's always the first to come in and always leaves last.
John has been a great trainer because he has always emphasized the key tenets of journalism. He has always emphasized fairness, balance, objectivity. At first, when he was news editor, some of us went through his hands, I always say that we got baptism of fire in reporting, because he never entertained the sluggish reporting.
I'm really sad that Mr. Kakande is leaving. I got to know that he was leaving last week, and I felt so bad. We are going to miss you, sir. You have been a role model, you've been a true leader, you've been an inspiration to some of us. Mr. Kakande was very accommodative. He welcomed all of us, whether he knew how to write, whether he didn't know. He would welcome us. He would not push away anyone's idea. He would listen to you. So I'm really going to miss you, John. But much as you're a good boss, you're also very mean with money. John would not give you 10,000 just here in Kampala. He would make sure that he cuts up to 5,000.
He was a pillar, I would say, in the newsroom, very strong pillar. And what I liked about him was the way he mentored the reporters. You know, you'd go to him, pitch a story, he sends you to the field, and when you come back, you debrief, then he'll tell you to look for more information, something extraordinary about that story.
And he was very passionate about what he was doing, so it was easy to also learn to be as passionate as he is. We shall surely miss him, but we have learned some very good lessons from him.
In the newsroom, we always said, if an old man of his stature can be in the newsroom before 6, what about all of us? So he used to challenge us a little bit. The journalism we are doing in this country needs some kind of a banker, where you pick experience, mix it with a little bit of new talent, so that the reader gets to know the story, the depth. So John has that insight that turns the story from an average story into something deep.
He's a good storyteller. He's a man who has rich stories about the history of Uganda. And some of us who do news editing, is a person you can consult anytime you'd want, and he would give you the information, especially regarding Uganda's political journey.
Mr. John Kakande is not only my workmate, he's a friend and a brother. I met him in 1989. That's over 30 years ago. He had just embarked on his journalism career under Shield Publications Limited. Since then, we have been together. God gifted him with what we would call, in computer terms, a huge storage memory. Whatever he reads, he stores in the brain. So, in other words, he's a moving encyclopedia. Whatever he witnessed, he remembers. What he read, he remembers. Number two, he represents success. Real success comes through hard work.
It is sad that he's leaving at this time when we still need him. If I were the employer, I would still have him stay on because there's still a lot to learn from him. First, I knew him when he was covering the Constituent Assembly debates, and later on we covered the NRC and the Parliament together, and I knew him as a man of principles, very strict principles, but also a very hard-working person, because you would see the speed at which he would, immediately the Parliament ends, the speed at which he would get back to office. You would see he was really a man of, hard work.
John is a very good person, by the way. He joined this company slightly before me. I followed him. And after some time, he became one of my confidants. Actually, I could say the only confidant I had around that time. You see, whenever I would run into, company politics, I would only run to John, and he was always of very good help. He's somebody who will tell you what he thinks and tell you as it is. I also happened to work with him in Parliament. We covered the Parliament together for some time, and he was somebody who was so thorough. John would write almost everything that is spoken in Parliament. When it comes to integrity, he's one of the few people you can trust all the time. And I'm happy for him that he has protected his integrity up to now, which is not an easy thing these days. He's somebody you can rely on. He's somebody who will take a story as it has come. He will not ask for anything but facts and balance the story. He always tell you that you have to balance this story. John, you are leaving this place. I don't want to say you are retiring. You are still very useful. You are very political, I know. Continue participating in political debates. And probably now that you'll be having more time, you don't have that burden of coming here very early in the morning as you've been doing and leaving very late. In the night, you'll have more time to read, to follow what is happening, and to continue contributing.
I remember if I needed anything, he was always the first person that I would somehow go to. I would call him on the intercom and say, John, how do we go about this? And he had something to say about everything in this country. For that reason, I will miss John, the encyclopedia that we had in this newsroom.
I really need a whole day to talk about John Kakande, maybe even a week, because I've worked with him for a very long time. For me, what I would like to comment about him is the resilience, the hard work you see in John. This is He's a very hard-working person. John comes very early, he's hands-on, and being an editor for all those years, always focused, always smiling. I have worked with John closely. And this is if you look at my work generally, it's a deadline-driven job. So in most cases, an advert can come in at 5, way beyond the deadline. But you call John and you say, now when I see your call, you're going to disturb me about space. But let's see what we can do. And you will find a solution. He also has a bit of sense of humor. We could just go laugh. John likes laughing. He laughs a lot. He laughs a lot. That's what I will miss.
It is his laugh that is like a trademark. You just hear him laugh and you just know that is John. In fact, I've kept telling people, the day John leaves, everyone will just know, because it's his laughter that has been really running in our minds all the time. He will stand at the other corner, have a discussion or a joke, and he laughs, and he's the only person you'll hear in his room. So we are just going to miss that. Yeah, and his jokes. He is one of the supervisors who has been so free that even when you walk to his desk, before you leave, there is a joke made. So you leave the desk laughing.
Well, Mr. Kakanda has been a resourceful editor at Vision Group. He has vast knowledge, experience, he has depth, pays attention to detail. So certainly it's going to leave a big gap, but fortunately, Mr. Kakande, as a teacher, he has groomed a number of people. John is a person with vast knowledge, long experience. If you're discussing Uganda's history, he has the facts on his fingers. He has the dates and the people he remembers. He can tell Uganda's history off his head. Again, when it comes to journalism, he follows every story. He will tell you, if you raise a suggestion to do something, but he can tell you that, wait, but we did that story last week. So he reads everything in the media. So he's what a true journalist should be, and he has lived to that.
When I joined Newvision, everyone at the time used to fear, editorial journalists and the like. But from the time I met John, I found him to be very polite, down to earth. If you ever needed to ask anything about the newsroom, you would be sure that John would make the time to tell you or to share with you anything that you needed to know. So yes, that's John, the John I know, very polite, very down to earth, always smiling, by the way, and very humble.
Some of the outstanding qualities about John, courage. He's very knowledgeable. He's like a moving encyclopedia on Uganda. He's courageous. He's very cautious at the same time. So he combines knowledge, he combines courage, but he's also very cautious. And I think that made him a perfect editor for Newvision, because he knew how to get good stories, detailed stories, to give them perspective and to give them depth. And he coached his teams to do so. But he also was courageous enough to publish certain stories that made us stand out as Newvision. And at the same time, he was cautious. He knew when not to push the bar and when to push the bar. And to me, that is a sign of a very good editor. I believe that he will still have to serve this country with all the knowledge he has. Wherever he is, he'll be able to serve. Of course, we probably will have him, host him on some of our TV shows, and maybe he'll have a column in Newvision, but he's not gone. He's just changing career from being editor Newvision into something else, a job which he's done very well with excellence. As a team, we celebrate him. I didn't have to worry about anything when John was on duty. He's a type of person who is also very respectful. He would call, update you. If anything changed, he would let you know something has changed. So even if I was miles away, I always knew that in John, there was a strong person in the newsroom. He's developed a good product, Newvision newspaper. Of course, he leaves when audience habits have changed a lot, but Newvision is still transiting. It's transiting probably through print to digital, and that is still fine. It will still be a strong product.
John, one of his biggest strengths is his knowledge of what takes place, particularly about Uganda. Of course, he knows so much about the international affairs, but he has such deep knowledge of Uganda, of the people who played big roles in politics and in industry. So he has that deep knowledge. The second issue is that John is so professional in his work that his personal opinions, his beliefs do not get in the way of his job as an editor. And of course, at a personal level, he's a very friendly person. His signature smile. John just smiles, and it's always a pleasure to be near John. I had hoped that John would still be around for a while because we really need him. We need his professionalism, we need his knowledge, we need his skill. But if he has decided to leave, we should honor that. But my request to him is that knowledge, he should stay with us even though he's not physically here or he's no longer employed here. He should still be very helpful not just in the media industry, but in shaping a lot of opinions in this country. He is definitely one of those people who you'd like to see his influence to continue for the whole country.
I'd like to congratulate John, congratulate him. He's done his best. He's served his company. He served his audiences, fellow Ugandans. He served the international audience, but above all, he served his country and his God.
Even the people who have been calling me from time to time from the town, asking about something, if they have an argument, they call you and say, we're having an argument here over this. Tell us, what is the true position? Because they trust that the journalist is more informed and is knowledgeable and he knows. So the word of a journalist is authoritative and authentic. So the challenge of the journalist of today and tomorrow is to ensure that they remain the authentic source of information.